Hey, Funkin' fans, please don't forget, you can always go to patreon.com/nice guys. Please make a donation for the show. We want to keep the lights on.
I have nothing to add. You did it so well, Strickland. Let's just get on with the show.
No, but you need to add something, Doug. Come on. Contribute, please.
Patreon.com/nice guys. That's the spot. Please, we are 100% funded by you all. And so far, we're 100% funded by you all. Let's just keep going.
As little as $2 a month. That's all we need. Thank you.
Coming up today on the Nice Guys on Business.
People get into entrepreneurship because they don't want to work for someone else. There's this idea that working for someone else is bad. Well, okay. I mean, maybe, but entrepreneurship is tough.
The Nice Guys on Business podcast. They had me at hello. Need an education on how to grow your business? The Nice Guys are here to help. Learn about great customer service, networking, and how just being nice can help you prosper. Now, here are your hosts, Doug Sandler and Strickland Bonner.
Hey, Funkin' fans, and boy, we're right into my head. What do we usually say?
Nice
welcome back, welcome back. What else do I say?
Holy shit, you forgot the welcome. We need to go see a doctor immediately.
Well, no, welcome back I was good with, but we say Funkin' fans, nice guy listeners. That's it, nice guy community. That's it.
Did you really forget? Have you taken your ADD medication today?
I've actually been off of it for about 2 months. I'm drinking more coffee, but I'm doing okay. Yeah.
So I don't understand. When you said that last time I was talking to you, I don't know what are the similarities between Adderall and coffee?
Well, Adderall is really just stimulant. It's just amphetamines. And so caffeine does the same thing. Again, I'm not a doctor and I don't play one on TV, but my understanding is that's basically what Adderall is. It's like amphetamines, right?
Yeah, but how would you being sped up help you in the world of ADD? That's the part, that's the connection I don't make, is how does something that is an amphetamine, which I guess is an upper, right? An upper?
Yeah.
I would think that a downer, alcohol would, and you do really well with alcohol too.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
You are actually an excellent drunk, I must add.
Thank you.
I many times I have seen you drink, and I know that you've had a couple, and you are so unaffected by it. I don't think I've ever seen you like out of control drunk.
I don't get sloppy, stupid drunk. I don't. I mean, there are times where like mentally I feel like I'm right on the edge of where like I absolutely don't want to drink anymore, but I don't do stupid stuff or black out or say anything that I don't remember or do anything that I would really regret.
Even in
later.
Our best Vegas days, I haven't seen you get out of control.
Yeah. Well, we can work on that for October at Gen Blue, yeah.
Did we have an interview today?
Yeah, we really need to get off of that. Hilary Hendershott, small business finances and long-term finances. Can I tell you one of the great things I loved about this interview? One of the things that she said, that she talks about was, when you got your own business, you're running your own business. Are you really running your own business? You have to look at, like, after a certain amount of time, and I believe in her blueprint, it was basically 5 years. If after 5 years, you got to figure out what money are you making at this business? Like, what kind of profit? And if you're only making, let's say, X amount of dollars, $50,000, $70,000 a year, you know what? You're working a day job.
Yeah.
It's like, why would you take the risk of being a business owner and you could just fall apart and the whole thing could just be gone at any time when you're only making as much money as you would be making at a 40-hour weekday job anyway?
At the beginning of the interview, she's talking in a financial planner and kind of almost like a certified financial planner, like tones and attitude and voice. And I felt so intimidated as I'm listening to her. I think I said at the beginning of the interview, I hope I didn't offend her at all. It certainly wasn't my intent to do that. But I think I said to her, hey, can you do me a favor? Can you just treat me like a third grader for a moment? Because I don't understand what you're saying.
Yeah, I need to get a sound effect that is like a car braking, like screeching tires. Because that's what it felt like when you're interviewing her. She jumps in with like 2 minutes of really interesting information, I thought. And it was a bit technical. Like, she finished and I'm like waiting, I'm hearing silence, and you were like, no, these go to 11. I felt like that's how you were. You were like, these go to 11.
Yeah, I think I did. I think I was really out of my element in the beginning there. And sometimes when you do, I don't know exactly what you do for a living, Strickland. I know you like write reports and all that, but could you imagine explaining to a layman like the information that you have to get to them so that they understand really in very simple terms what it is that you do? But not only that, you have to train them in order to do the job as well.
Yeah, no, it gets a little complicated. And I could tell you what I do, Doug, but then I'd have to kill you.
Yeah, that's very true. Very true. So what Hilary does a really good job on, and as soon as I told her that, she was like, oh, whoa, hold up a second. okay, let me take this at a different level, because she realized for a moment, maybe she goes on a whole bunch of financial shows. I don't know, but I can tell you, at least for me, I was totally out of my element and totally felt like, if I don't get this, then I'm feeling like other people in our community may not get this too. Although I'm sure I'm at a different, maybe a much lower grade level than most of the people in our audience. But I wanted to be able to understand it. So she's actually created at www.hilaryhendershot.com/nice guys. She has a money blueprint for business owners, and we'll put a link in the show notes so that you have access to that. Extract more income to build wealth. Run your business like a profit boss. And I think that we all need to do a little bit more of running our business like a boss.
The other things with this is, first of all, I think she was great at changing gears. I mean, there are some people out there that, they're just really technical and they don't know how to simplify it or dumb it down. But like as soon as you said, hey, Hilary, I know my audience, I know our listeners, and you need to dumb it down a little bit because they're not as smart as we think they are. But she was like, oh, okay, all good. And she totally changed gears. But also, if you are not a business owner, there's so much good advice in the interview about just finances in general, even if you are just a regular person and savings and those type of things. I mean, it is definitely focused towards businesses, but really there's a lot of great advice all the way around with it.
All good. Great interview. Even if you're a creative, this is the episode for you. So let's get to the interview. We did the promise statement, right? We did the Patreon pledge.
I don't think we did do the promise statement.
We didn't do the promise statement on this episode?
Nope.
Okay. Well, it's to provide a learning experience that's entertaining and adds value to your life. If you feel like we miss it, we got there, you just want to say hi, let us know. At Nice Guy on Biz is Strix, and I'm at DJ Doug, where that's their Twitter handles. Please reach out to us. Let us know how we might be able to help you even more do those things in your life. We are proud to be affiliated with the C-Suite Radio Network. I think we're ready to get to our interview with Hilary Hendershott. We think about it all the time, and yet most of the world does not have a solid plan when it comes to money. Hilary Hendershott, a certified financial planner and also a podcast host, is an expert in the world of money. And if you're IRA ignorant, kind of like I was, and if you're credit card curious, kind of like we all are, or if you just want to know how to bulletproof your finances, Hilary is the woman for the job. Actually, if you want to get out of your job but don't know how to financially, you can actually swing it. Check out today's episode. Excited to talk Benjamins with you today. Welcome, Hilary, to the Nice Guys on Business podcast.
Thank you so much.
I love the fact that you're a podcast host and all of that stuff that we did behind the scenes. You actually handle that quite professionally. It's kind of like a duck, the flapping of the feet under is like mad as hell, but everything's very smooth right above water. So thank you.
I use that metaphor a lot when it comes to media, and television is the same way. It's just like you never guess what's going on right off set.
So, Nice Guy community, just so you know, Hilary is not just a professional in the world of money, but she is very eloquent, and she handled everything that I threw at her with grace and style. So thanks, Hilary. So much to talk about, and we have so little time to cover it. So, Hilary, just share with our community one of the most pressing questions, or maybe a couple of the most pressing questions that you get from people, maybe on your first call when they call to talk to you just about money or finances or planning. Are there a handful, or is there even one or two that you routinely get?
I don't know, Doug, when you plan to air this interview, but we're approaching tax time right now. And so a lot of people, especially entrepreneurs, are thinking about income taxes. And, at this point, if you pay your estimated quarterly taxes, you might find yourself in a bit of a pinch. But the question is always, Hilary, how do I maximize the value of all of my time over the course of the year to my personal bottom line? And so I spend a lot of time this time of year talking to people about the various ways entrepreneurs can save money in a tax-deferred way. So, for example, there's the SEP IRA, which stands for Self-Employment Pension, and that allows you to defer 25% of your earned income. But now, in order to do that, you have to be paying yourself, okay? And that is really the key to so many things as an entrepreneur, and maybe we'll get more into that, but let's see where this takes us. This year, I was actually able to contribute more than $18,000 to what's called a solo 401k. I have a team of people working for me, but they're all contractors. And so as a solo entrepreneur, an owner of a corporation, I was able to contribute to that account. And that $18,000 is literally like taking money away from Uncle Sam and keeping it for me. And so I love tax deferred savings. Other other options include a profit sharing plan. So lots of you have sort of a base retirement plan often requires a base of a 401k plan, but then you can have a profit sharing plan if your company has irregular income but high income. Profit sharing plans can defer up to $256,000. So
yeah, there's
it's kind of,
yeah. Well, there's like so, and again, I don't mean to stop you, but I let me ask this because I always feel like as soon as I talk to a financial planner or somebody that's in the world of financial planning or somebody that knows about money, and obviously you are very left-brained, and that is apparent in hearing everything that you're talking about. At some point, and I'm not saying that my community is like this, I just know how I am. I go from this, yeah, that sounds like a wah 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 wah. and so what I always try to focus on is there's got to be the most simplest. Talk to me for a moment, and maybe for the next 10 minutes or maybe 15 minutes throughout this entire interview. Talk to me almost like you're talking to a third grader, because something that comes so, and again, I'm not throwing anything at you, Hilary, because I know you know your field really well. And the research that I did, I'm like, holy shit, this woman has got her act together, and you're totally there. And then I keep thinking, I don't even know 1% of the stuff that you know when it comes to it. And not that you're making me feel at all small about it, but you're giving great information. I'm just like, okay, I'm just trying to figure out, do I have enough money to pay my bills at the end of the month? Or how do I ensure that I have enough money to pay my bills at the end of the month? And talk to me about cash flow and about a little bit of savings. And can I even break it down so that it's that simple for people?
Yeah, so let's take it in phases.
Thank you. Can you hold my hand through this process? Come here, give me a hug. Please. I just need a hug every once in a while. Sorry.
I will give you a big audio hug.
Okay. All right.
Hey, Doug even rhymes with hug.
Yes, it does. I think my mom did that purposely. She knew she was going to be raising a child that needed a lot of hugs growing up. Anyway, okay, let's get back to it.
And
Sorry.
here you are in the big bad mean world of business.
Well, you may not even be aware of this. I wrote a book called "Nice Guys Finish First." This has just been my philosophy my entire life. I'm like, I don't know shit, but I do know how to be nice. Okay, so anyway, let's continue. Sorry.
So ultimately, as human beings, whether you're an employed person or a self-employed person, in the financial area of your life, just like in the health area of your life, your object is to have cardiovascular fitness and stay lean and eat healthy, okay?
Yeah.
In the finance area of our lives, it is our job to surround ourselves with enough personal assets over time to achieve what we'll call financial freedom. Mm-hmm. That can be retirement, or it can be retirement by choice, or it can be a time period where you travel, whatever that is. People are allergic to the R word these days. But it's the same thing as financial freedom. What that means is you have enough assets to replace your income. So that's what we're all up to as business owners, is earning money in our businesses, and that will eventually translate to personal assets. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, and as a wealth manager, because I again, in a lot of the reading and the research that I've done on you as a wealth manager, I can even see how sometimes that term can scare off some people, because they feel like, well, I have no wealth. I'm just trying to, financial planning is not just for the wealthy. And that's the thing that I'm really trying to get through to with all of this, is that, I know I'm smarter than a third grader. Actually, I wasn't smarter than a fifth grader, but the third grader for sure I'm smarter than. It's a matter of understanding that financial planning is not just for people that have money. Or is it? Or is it? You help me. You can contradict me. It's okay.
I never said anything about people who have money. We spend more time planning our next vacation than we do planning our financial future. So, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I never go on the air, whether it be on my podcast or on the local news, and talk about, well, this is only for you if you have $1 million in a personal account already.
Right.
I mean, how do you get to be someone who has $1 million? You start with $1, or you start with $10,000 of debt. wherever you're starting, the end game, the idea is to get yourself on the path. And yes, that requires strategy. And we call that financial planning, just like meal planning or vacation planning or travel planning, right? Any strategic conversation or plan about your money is financial planning. And absolutely, it's for everyone.
And I love, as I'm looking at some of the titles of some of your episodes for your podcast, How to Recover from $28,000 in Debt and Two Bad Marriages. I mean, now that is like relatability for sure. That's somebody that definitely has been through that struggle, freeing yourself from the prison of debt. I mean, all of the big money lessons for women from Shark Tank. I mean, the stuff that, the prime time stuff, the stuff that everybody loves. But I'm 100% agreeing with you when it comes to people spend more time focused oftentimes on where they're going to eat dinner tonight than they're fine, or where they're going to go on vacation next month and how to save for that, than to save for their kids' college fund. So what are some common misconceptions that people have when it comes to saving, maybe investing or spending money? Are there some common misconceptions?
Well, and I really wanted to go back to where you said, talk to me like a third grader, because the common misconception is that earning money in your business is enough. And I'm not here to be the voice of negative. I really am the voice of empowerment. If you listen to anything I talk about, I call myself the judgment-free zone. And so let me give you this metaphor, because I think you're really going to like it.
Okay,
and I think you'll be able to use it.
Does it involve like stuffed animals and bears and stuff?
No, this involves an airplane. Is that
good.
No,
it's good.
Hug an airplane?
That's good. That's good. I hope I haven't thrown you at all. They didn't give you any prep before you came on their show, did they? You're like, who the hell is this guy and what is he asking me?
I know, he says he's nice, but he's really just a bully.
Just damn it, lead me in this direction.
It's false advertising, this all Doug nice guy thing.
Give me the airplane.
So when you start a business, you are an airplane trying to get off the runway. When the airplane's engines first kick on, it requires the most fuel that airplane will use at any point during the flight. And so the turbines kick on and the airplane starts to go down the runway, and it starts at zero. It starts at a stopped position, and it gains speed slowly and soon more speed, and it gains momentum, okay? Mm-hmm. And then pretty soon it has enough momentum to actually lift off the ground. And it's that point in your business, the first 2 to 5 years, that literally takes the most energy. It takes your energy. It takes resources from your family. It probably takes your credit card balances or your family's investment, or, you've got to have investment capital to start a business. It takes money to start a business, whether that money is in the form of your time or your weekends, or like I said, some people use their credit cards or their retirement accounts. And so the object is to get up to a 30,000 foot altitude as quickly as you can. And most businesses, that does take 2 to 5 years, sometimes 6. And you need to be constantly gauging, right? Like, is this working? Serving the people who are following you better and better with more value. Yeah. Now, at that point, once you're at 30,000 foot altitude, in my opinion, let me just give you some round numbers. That business should be making at least $250,000 a year. Now, that's a blanket statement. Lots of geographies have different cost of living, et cetera, et cetera. But here's the deal, Doug. Your businesses are expensive to run. Very few people, it's almost non-existent, the number of businesses that are able to benefit the owners in the amount that the company earns. I spoke with someone the other day who's a very successful online coach. She's very proud that her business earns $300,000 a year, and she takes home $75,000 a year. Okay. Now, I'm sure that she's doing everything she can to cut costs. But $75,000 a year, she could go get a job earning $75,000 a year, right? Knowing what she knows about online marketing and customer acquisition. So I really want to encourage business owners to get that plane up to the 30,000 foot altitude and get that business revenue as high as you possibly can. Then once you're at cruising altitude, it's your job to maximize profitability. And that means taking money out of your business and putting it into your personal accounts. And I talk to so many business owners who don't pay themselves. And it's a huge mistake.
Yeah, that is one of the areas that my wife and I discuss all the time, in that we have two businesses that have been running, in her case 5 years, in my case nearly 30 years, and it is still the same, not the same struggle, but it's a very common conversation that we have about paying yourself. It's like all of your money goes to your expenses and you don't have any left over to pay yourself, or it should be the other way around. It should be pay yourself first, and then the remainder should go to your, at least that's the way that I feel like it is the proper way to run your business. And again, it's just through my experience. Is that something that people are short of doing, paying themselves money?
It absolutely is. And then what happens is, at the end of the day, you're sort of living paycheck to paycheck. I mean, at 30,000 foot cruising altitude, you should be on payroll. So you should be running your income through paychecks, or I use Gusto, and you should be on payroll. That doesn't have to be the entirety of your compensation. And that's a conversation for your tax planner and you to have. But at that point, if you aren't paying yourself and you aren't building a business with resale value, at the end of the day, once you stop, it's like that. Remember the Flintstones cartoon, how they had the Flintstones car and they would just pedal with their feet?
Now you're talking to me in a language I got it. Fred Flintstone, Barney Rubble.
I got it. Doug wants metaphors. I got him.
Thank you. My right brain is saying it's like very spongy right now. Thank you.
So once you stop pedaling like the Flintstones in their Flintstone car, moving your feet so fast, there's nothing left for you. There's not a business to sell. There's no personal assets that you've built up, and it's just sort of thank you very much and a hit and a, what did I say, spank on the rear end, like see ya. And I don't want that for you. So at the same time as you're building your business, just like in the book, The E-Myth, he wants you to be working on your business instead of in your business. It's those repeatable systems that actually create a saleable business, and that you need to be paying yourself a market wage, so that when you want to stop working, whether you're tired of the business, you want to retire, you want to do something else, you can say, yes, I've saved money every year that I've been doing this, and now I'm going to sell it to someone else, and I'm going to have a big payday because I have a business that doesn't require me to run it. Instead, I've created repeatable systems. I've documented them. I've put the right people in the right places on the bus, and the bus is the metaphor for the company, and I can sell it to an entrepreneur who now wants to run it. So that really, it's my mission to have, I think people get into entrepreneurship because they don't want to work for someone else. There's this idea that working for someone else is bad. Well, okay. I mean, maybe, but entrepreneurship is tough.
Oh, it's totally. I love the freedom that it provides, but I also, there's that huge amount of headache. It's the cash flow issue. It's even after 30 years, there is still always, while I have a history and I understand there's cycles in my business, there is always that cash flow issue. And it's only been, I would say, maybe 10 of those 30 years that I've finally gotten to a point where I'm like, I understand that there are curves and ups and downs in my business, and I understand that I have to live a little bit leaner in the lean months, or work towards saving on those fatter months, and not just focused on just spend in those fatter months, but to kind of evenly do it throughout the course of the year. My dad always told me about, stop the bleeding first. He's like, get rid of all your credit card debt, get rid of your high percentage debts, pay your bills, get focused on even small incremental savings. And that's always stayed with me. And fortunately, I've never had any credit card debt in my life. Is that fairly typical, or is it the other way around? Do people really build up? So let's talk about credit card debt for a moment, and also talk about credit scores if we can. Are those things even important?
So you need a credit score if you want to borrow more money. So if you're in a position where you're in a lot of debt and you shouldn't be borrowing money because you're a chronic overspender, then you actually need to take some time and cure yourself of that habit. In my opinion, your credit score is not important during that time. But certainly over time, you want to be a person who pays your bills with integrity, and that's what, gives you a high credit score in the long run. So yeah, in a perfect world, we'd all have a high credit score and no credit card debt. But in case you haven't noticed, that's not often how it goes.
No, it's so totally not the case in many cases. And how do you deal with that? I mean, do you just beg, borrow, and steal from every family member that, well, not steal, but beg and borrow from every family member that you have to try to help you get into, how important is capital in this process? And do you ignore the fact that you need capital in order to sometimes infuse your business with go?
Yeah. So there's a couple ways to answer your question. I mean, if you're a person just starting out in life and you've got credit card debt, the question is, are you a chronic overspender, or did things just happen and you didn't have enough savings, liquid savings to pay for it? And I'm talking about early 20s, right? After that, really, you should have enough positive cash flow, which means you spend less than you make, and you're putting that delta in the bank, that you can handle life's ups and downs. And what we don't realize is that 30% of our spending on the personal side is lumpy, and that means it occurs in large lump sums. So you buy a car, you handle gifting for the holidays, you need to pay for an annual expense like property taxes. And so you've got to have enough savings for that. Now, the question about credit cards in your business, you have to know your business. I certainly can't answer that in a blanket way. Obviously, credit card debt is not sustainable, but I have a business that's very cash easy. I get paid. I don't invoice my clients. I don't do collections. So I can't speak from the ivory tower. I know entrepreneurs who have great businesses, but cash flow management is a daily headache. So, those people are definitely lean on lines of credit from the bank. So that's kind of one better than using the credit cards. If you can get a line of credit from your credit union or bank, I'd prefer that to the credit cards, just because weird things can happen with credit cards where they unilaterally decide that they're not going to give you more credit, or your interest rate's going to go up. And you obviously can't run the business on credit card debt forever. So again, are you in that period of time where the plane is taking off and using a lot of fuel to get up into the sky? Or if you're at 30,000 feet and you're using credit heavily, I would assert you either spend too much money or your business isn't profitable enough, and you need to look at those things.
That's very interesting. In some of the material, you talk about this money operating system. Can you just spend a couple of moments just talking about that? Or is that kind of what we're talking about overall right now anyway, or is that a whole different process?
No, actually, I'd love to talk about that. Money operating system is the money operating system is a technology a distinction that I created when I overcame my own financial problems. I was, at one point many years ago, I was a certified financial planner, and I was an overspender. I was in credit card debt, and I had one of those mortgages that no one should ever have, a neg am, or what's called an option arm, where after a certain period of time, the mortgage payment started climbing and climbing and climbing because I had the option to not pay the full payment, which of course, surprisingly, I took. And
Goes hand in hand with having credit card debt oftentimes.
Oh my gosh.
Right?
I mean, I just was the poster child for everything not to do financially. I owned the credit union owned a BMW convertible and they let me park it in my driveway and for a very high price every month. And things got so bad that at one point I actually couldn't even afford to put gas in the BMW.
Wow.
So it was something that was very embarrassing for me. I was really felt like you cursed earlier, so I'll just say it. I felt like a piece of shit.
Right.
I felt like a drag on society. Here I have a great education. I'm working as a certified financial planner, and I'm blowing it financially. And so I became, I just decided, Doug, it wasn't going to go that way. It's like my life is not going to continue to go this way. So I sort of stopped pretending, got really honest, stripped myself of all expenses that didn't need to happen, and figured it out. And that's when I became an expert on behavioral behavioral finance, and neuropsychology. So the money operating system technology comes from what neuropsychologists know about people and money. And this applies to you whether you're an employee or an employer or self-employed or a politician or anything. You have a core belief about money, and that core belief exists in language. It came from your childhood. It's formative. It's very basic. It's not sophisticated at all. I'm sure you say sophisticated things about money now, but this thing is very, very elementary because you created it and could understand it when you were maybe 5, 6, 7 years old. For me, my mother was a great saver, and there were things she didn't want to buy, but I wanted those things, and I would always want those things. I was sort of really upset that I couldn't have those things, brand name clothes and things like that. And I decided there's never enough money. And then throughout, what's going to happen once you're imprinted with this money operating system is that you're going to go through your life manifesting that. And that's not woo-woo, okay? You're, in many ways, we as human beings live a life that's a function of, our experience of life is a function of language. Mm-hmm. Language brings distinction. It creates emotion, like that. And money is very conceptual. We relate to money like it's an object to be won or lost, but it's not. Money is simply an agreement that human beings live by. Cash isn't money, okay? Credit cards don't contain money. Your bank doesn't have any money in it. That's just bits and bytes. Money actually doesn't exist in reality. You can never touch it. It's like a blank canvas, and we can paint anything that we want on it. So other money operating systems are things like money is the root of all evil, or there's always enough money, or money is complicated, or money doesn't grow on trees. Okay, these kinds of things. Or you have to work hard for money. That's a popular one. My husband got money is no problem. And so I teach about these money operating systems because until they're brought to bear, until you take them from the unconscious and put them in the conscious, you're sort of a victim to your own programming. And the cool thing about taking responsibility for your money situation, I mean, the downside is it's your fault. The upside is it's only you who can do something about it. That you know, Doug, that the wealth is not predicted by intelligence or education or birthright or strata in society. That in a free market economy, you can have any money result that you produce. And so the difference between you and the person standing next to you isn't ability or value. It's psychology, literally. And there was a gentleman, I always blank on his name, but he interviewed 1,000 millionaires. And he said publicly in his book that the number one predictor of wealth is what he called an internal locus of control. And what that means is that wealthy people believe that they create their results. Unsuccessful people believe that they're victims, that it's not their fault. And so that really is a fundamental underpinning of this whole conversation about the money operating system is like, look, you made it up when you were a kid. Now you're living into it. Mine was there's never enough money. So when money came into my bank account, obviously that didn't jive. Having money in my bank account did not jive with there's never enough money. So I spent like a pro. I spent like I was rich. And that's the counterintuitive thing is that you'll manifest your money operating system no matter what happens, that you will alter your reality until it matches your core belief. And it was very, very, very destructive and ultimately painful and expensive for me.
Totally expensive. I love the whole idea. I mean, as soon as I started mentioning this money operating system, I felt you got right in your zone, right in the spot where I know you're passionate about what you do for a living and as a wealth manager and somebody that's a financial planner. I know that is extremely important to you. It sounds like when I started opening up about money operating system or what is that, that's when you really got in your right in your sweet spot. So you really excel in that area, and I'm assuming that's the thing that you're most passionate about.
Oh, I think I'm most passionate about empowering people. The mechanism that I talk to people through happens to be their money, but I'll give you an example. I have women that are clients of mine that are multimillionaires, literally, and they still suffer in the topic of money, in the area of money. They're ashamed that they have that much money. They're embarrassed. They don't mention it to their friends because their friends mock them or really can't be with it. So there's negative comments that come. And that it hurts me that people hurt about money. And I guess I'm more of a people person than a money person. It just happens to be that my gift is in numbers. So yes, to answer your question, yes, I'm concerned with people being free of the constraints of the past, and a lot of that is around money.
It's great, and money is sometimes that taboo subject, like you said, to talk about. I don't know why it needs to be that way. You know, some parents never talk to their kids about money, and I think that is extremely. I don't think that's a proper way to. You talk to your kids about sex, don't you? You talk to your kids about eating properly. You talk to your kids about cleaning their room. Why wouldn't you talk to them about the implications of having a lot or not having enough money in your life? I don't get it, but
I agree.
It's just it's a way of people. Some people live their life. Hilary, if somebody wanted to get in touch with you to learn more about your services, and I understand you actually have a free gift that you're giving to the Nice Guy community as well, or a couple of those things. So how do we get to you, and how do we get to this free gift?
Yeah, thank you very much. So first of all, I host a podcast that I love. It's called Profit Boss Radio, where we talk about a lot of the things that Doug and I talked about today. You can find Profit Boss Radio anywhere you access podcasts. And, it's your wealth mastermind. So every week I'm going to talk about financial best practices, money mindset topics, and I even comment on current news. Today, as a gift for you, I have a free guide that I call the Money Blueprint Cheat Sheet. So if you are confused about numbers and all those polysyllabic words you hear people say in the boardroom or about money, yep. And you really want to understand, what is this return on investment concept? How do I calculate my direct costs from a promotion? Why is that even important, Hilary? Should I hire a bookkeeper? And what the heck is profit anyway?
Right.
This is for you. It includes a cheat sheet and a checklist and a link to a free audio. You can find that at hilaryhendershot.com/nice guys. And I believe you're going to link to it in the show notes as well, Doug. And if you want to just check me out on the web, I'm at hilaryhendershot.com, and Hilary has one L and Hendershot has two T's.
Yeah, and if you take advantage of the link in our show notes, I will throw in a fuzzy stuffed animal and a bunch of crayons if you want that. If you need something to write with. My crayon isn't really sharp, so I wasn't able to take some good notes from today's program. Hilary, thank you so very much for all of your information. Definitely a wealth of knowledge, and pardon the pun, a wealth of knowledge that you have imparted upon our community. Thanks for being here. And if there's anything else that we can do to make our Nice Guy community even more educated about finance, please make sure you go to hilaryhendershot.com. Again, the link will be in the show notes. Hilary, thank you so much for being a part of the show today.
Thanks, Doug. I'm going to send you a stuffed animal today.
Oh, yes. I got my stuffed animal finally. Nice Guy community, never underestimate the power of nice. Again, special thanks to Hilary for being on the show today. Steve O'Brien, go ahead and take us out of here.
You've put enough in little Johnny's 529. Now, it's time to really help out someone in need. The Nice Guys on Business need your support. Please go to patreon.com, and for as little as $2 a month, you can help these guys continue to ramble on and on and on, week after week after week. Thank you for your support. And boy, is it weak.